Hi, lollies. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda's channel. Thank you for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you'll be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of ours. You guys are the real
So
MVP. So,
lovelies, I came across this video that have been circulating all over the social platforms, and I thought to share where a pen-colored person who was actually laid off from a federal work criticized his arrangement, saying that he never expected that he was going to be so selfish, that he goes as far as to do things that it's all about him. And I was able to put up some stitches because it's actually shocking that people, still believe in all of the fallacy. All right,
I don't
let's dive
care.
into it.
Yeah, I don't care. Let me show you.
I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would did something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran. But I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country. But now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump, not, the guy out there working in the trenches trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. It goes against everything I expected when, I voted for him.
So you're not satisfied with what he said?
No. And it doesn't even have to do with anything about me getting fired. I mean, if I had gotten fired as part of the, government, cutting government spending, I would have been fine with that. I can accept that. But he's not delivering on anything he said he was going to do. So what's your real game plan? It doesn't make sense to me.
There are some things that he promised to do that he has put in place. I mean, there are executive orders that he's done, that he said that he was going to do. You don't feel like he's lived up to those promises?
I mean, where are the results? I mean, seriously, prices are still going up. We're now in the middle of a tariff war with a bunch of countries that used to be our steadfast allies. I mean, how do you make an enemy of Canada? They're right next to us, and they've been one of our premier allies and commerce partners for, seriously, centuries now?
And he did say that he was going to put tariffs in place. Did you just not think that they would be implemented in this particular way?
I didn't think they were going to be put in play in a juvenile way. I mean, where was the attempt to actually talk to the heads of these other countries like, hey, I feel you have unfair tariffs against our products. I'd like to talk about it first. And if we can't work out some kind of resolution, then I feel to protect our people, we need to implement this kind of tariff. There was no attempt at even talking to the other countries.
He thought that the policies that Donald Trump implemented wouldn't affect him. He was all for it because the way Donald Trump presented the things that he was going to do, they were going to hurt other people. And he was all for that. He was all for that. But now, all that Donald Trump said he was going to do, that he's been able to do, it affects them. Federal employee lost his job. Tariffs affecting him. Prices still going up. Donald Trump said prices were going to come down on day one. They're still going up. That's affecting him. Donald Trump presented all of this harm as if it was going to affect other people, and they were all for it. So when they get up on camera, making posts, talking about their vote, they regret their vote for Donald Trump, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Happy Friday, guys. Looks like it's gonna be a FAFO Friday. To the maggots that are out here on the internet whining and snotting, saying this is not what they voted for, that they don't understand what he's doing, they didn't vote for this, what is he doing? Trump came out and said, y'all can quit all that lying, because he campaigned on this. He said y'all signed up for this because he campaigned on it, and you're voting for him, so says you supported it. So Trump said stop lying. Trump said stop lying. Y'all knew what he was doing because he told you. And in this instance, he ain't lying. In this one instance, he ain't lying. Trump told y'all everything he was gonna do. He said it was gonna be a bloody mass deportation. He said he was gonna bring in those tariffs. He has not lied one bit to y'all. During that entire campaign, that man was complete, what they would like to say now, transparent. So Trump's telling y'all, stop lying. Stop lying on him. See what happens? See what happens? Have y'all ever saw this movie? It's an old classic. I'm a black and white movie fan. It's this old classic movie called Face in the Crowd. Andy Griffith stars in it. He was this, what they called back in those days, a hobo, just out, doing his life. And he came across this woman who dad owned a radio station, I believe. Anyway, they got him on a little morning spot. It was a little deal. You sing something on the air, and the sheriff was gonna let him out. You know how them small towns did it. This was a small town in Arkansas. Anyway, from that he became this huge phenomenon. I mean, he went from a little radio station to eventually moving to Memphis for a bigger TV show. He got a TV show, so he had tons of followings. But his tons of followers were the lower class, the undereducated, the poor, white. He was a huge success in Arkansas. Okay? He could tell them to do whatever on his radio station, and they would go out and do it. And it was little harmless pranks, don't get me wrong. It was like, he was messing with, I think, the sheriff, or the guy that was running for mayor. He said he couldn't be a dog catcher. He said, as a matter of fact, everybody take your dogs over to his house. And they went over there and they took all their dogs to his house. And everybody thought it was so funny. He was so hilarious. And the woman said, how does it feel? The woman that discovered him said, how does it feel? He said, what feel? He said, how does it feel? She said, how does it feel for your words to have so much impact on people the way it does? And he said, and he stopped to think. He said, I guess I do. Well, he started out as a humble man. He was just a little hobo, poor man, never had a dime in his pocket, but he was happy. And when he became, after they put him in the spotlight and he got this huge audience, he became really, really powerful because of all the backing he had. Sound familiar? Okay. So he got, the more powerful he got, the more true him came out, and it was not good. So with all the power he had over all these people, he generated money. He had sponsors that wanted to sponsor his program. He had rich people that wanted to have his influence so they could, lean people in their direction. Of course, the politicians came and running because they wanted him to control, because of the control he had over the people. They wanted that. So they was finna just blow him up and put him in the political arena and everything. The man was huge. Ratings out of this world. Who does that sound like? Okay, so one day, because he had got so powerful and so huge, his ego had got out of control, and everybody around him was like, they saw him for who he were, but they were hiding that from the public. And the woman who, you could just say, created him, brought him to the public, she was at her wit's end, because he dogged her out through the whole movie. She was in love with him. He dogged her out. One day she came to the studio, and he was wrapping up. He was getting ready to wrap up the show, and at the end of the show, they would have the credits scrolling, and then they would have him and his little, he called this little Cracker Barrel group of guys that he sat around and talked to, and they just went nodded along with him, a whole bunch of, So one night he was closing out the show, and they had the credits rolling. They had the sound down so the people couldn't hear him, but they could see him. So he was in the camera smiling and waving like he was saying good things. But what he was saying was, "Good night, you stupid idiots." He said I could get these people, I could lead them anywhere. He was calling them sheep. So the woman, she turned the volume up where it was going out over the broadcast. So the people started hearing, "Good night, you dumb idiots. Look at them, a bunch of dumb sheep. I could lead them wherever." And the people in his little group, they just cracking up laughing. So the people who were still tuned in, because they were watching the credits go by, they hadn't turned the show off. They started seeing him for who he is. So they started getting hot. They started blowing up the television station, telling me we'll never watch him again. His ratings fell like a rock, like a boulder. And just that quick, he was through. The public was through with him. But it was only because they got to see the real him. Got it? Now, fast forward to modern day times. What does it look like MAGA's going through? Who, their leader, how did he become in so much power? How did he get so much control? Ratings from a TV show, right? Of how that TV show presented him, how they made him look to be something that he wasn't. So Donald Trump, he profited off this ratings from The Princess. That's what gave him the public recognition that the MAGA thinks he has. So I'll say that to say this. If you will look back at that, look up, it's called Facing the Crowd. You will see so many resemblance to today and Trump and his following. Just because a person says what they want to say in public does not mean that's who they truly are. Okay? So Donald Trump is telling y'all now, shut the hell up. Go along, because you signed up for this. Those are his words. Look up the article. Look up the article itself. Trump tells the public to suck it up. He tells MAGA to suck it up. He says to stop the whining because this is what you asked for. He said, I campaigned on this. I campaigned on this. So now he's coming out telling y'all, you asked for it and I'm going to give it to you. And he don't care how you feel about it now. It's too late. It's too late. I'm in here now. I'm in here. And now that he's in here and he's showing that he is not for the working class, he is not for the poorly educated, he is not for the rural community, he is not for the man working from 9 to 5. He ain't for y'all. He is not for y'all. Y'all got him in there. But who Trump is really for, who he fooled y'all to be really for, Trump is for him and his millionaire buddies. He's in here to ensure the future and the well-being of the 1%. And now that the facts is slapping y'all in the face, Donald Trump is saying, suck it up, buttercup. So, on on this Friday, on this FAFO Friday, I have one question before I get out of here. And it's to MAGA. Is it great again yet? Asking for a friend.
You know, in the process of us having these painful conversations about racism in America, there is one culprit that seems to be able to get away without ever being held accountable for their actions. The white evangelical church, or the white church, Christianity in America. Before there was an abortion debate brought to you by the evangelical Christian conservative movement, before there was a debate about homosexuality brought to you in part, or brought to you by the evangelical Christian conservative movement, there was racism. It has been here since the church has been here. Look up the slave Bible. Just look it up. Some of you didn't even realize there was one, and there is. There is a thing called the slave Bible. Well, within the slave Bible, one passage matters more than any other passage. It's one of the things that slaves were taught during chattel slavery. According to the Bible, slaves, obey your masters. That's the impetus for the slave Bible. Again, you can look it up. At the end of the Civil War and the beginning of Reconstruction, the organization, the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, were formed. What is their calling card? What is it that distinguishes the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan from every other white supremacist organization in America? The burning of a Christian cross. It was the clearest indication that the Klan was in your area, and it wasn't like they weren't, they were all over. And it was also the clearest indication that whatever was about to happen with the Klan, black folks were going to catch hell. This went on throughout all of the Jim Crow South and in certain places in the North as well. But the clearest indication was a burning cross. Now, for years, people, evangelical Christians, have tried to distance themselves from the Klan. You can't. At one point, the Klan called themselves a Christian organization. Spoiler alert, they still do. They still consider themselves to be a Christian organization. But again, I'm not done. I don't know whether or not it was Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, but one of the two of them said the most segregated time in America is Sunday morning. But even the black church, even the black Christian church, has not been exempt from the damage that white evangelical Christian conservatism has done. The bombing of a black church in Birmingham, Alabama, that killed 4 black girls. Fast forward, Dylan Roof walks into a black Christian church and kills 9 people. Now, evangelical Christians have always been able to push them, oh, well, that's not us. Oh, that's not my Christianity. That's not my Christianity. Is it though? Isn't it? Because if you think the bombing of a black church, the lynchings of black people as the Klan burns a cross behind them, if you think that's not your Christianity, then you haven't been paying attention. It gets worse. Let's get into the financial part of it. Do y'all realize that the reason a lot of these Christian academies and these Christian schools and these Christian colleges exist in the first place is because the white evangelical Christian movement did not want to integrate with black folk? They did not. One of Strom Thurmond's most famous speeches before he got on the floor of the fucking Senate was the speech where he talked about not allowing black people to integrate into their homes, their stores, their pools, and their churches. Evangelical Christian conservatism propped up a whole lot of white supremacy. Always has. If you go through the history of the Red Summer, which basically white folks destroying black people's livelihoods, their homes, their neighborhoods, their businesses, and things of that nature, you will find that a lot of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan were not only there, but they were screaming their Christian bona fides while they were doing it. Jerry Falwell, one of the leaders of the evangelical Christian conservative movement, complained and sued the federal government. I believe he sued them, or they sued him, to keep his tax exempt status while also opening up these Christian schools and Christian academies where they did not have to integrate. The federal government said, no, no. And the other fucked up thing about that is when it came to public schools where white kids and black kids were going to be going together, and white people did not want their kids going to school with these black folks, and they created these Christian academies. One of the things that they did was through legislative, sleight of hand, they were siphoning money out of the public schools coffers to go to these Christian academies and these Christian schools and things of that nature. You see, the separation of church and state didn't just fall down. It's always been falling. This was done in the 60s and the 70s, long before now. Let's talk about the fact that these Christian schools and Christian academies were only created because they did not want to integrate with black students and black children. But through a bunch of legislative sleight of hand, public school money went to fund these private schools, these private Christian schools. See, the wall between church and state has been eroding for years. For years. They were able to get away with this. Not because of abortion, not because of homosexuality, but because simply they did not want to go to school with black folk. They just didn't. Jerry Falwell was sued by the federal government for not allowing black students into places like Bob Jones University and Liberty University and stuff. Well, I think it's Liberty, whatever. So it became less profitable for them to do this. And that's when abortion and gay rights became the new calling card. Now you have the rise of Trump. Over the past 10 years, the evangelical Christian movement have found their perfect avatar. They spent 8 years calling President Barack Obama, everything except his actual name. Y'all remember that movie that the woman that was in Touched by an Angel made, where the big controversy was that the devil looked like Barack Obama? Do you think that was by accident? And now, since Trump has shown back up, and since he's been here, now the Christian movement is not only happy that they got their man in the White House, but now they feel like they can go back to their old roots of racism. That's why you see so many instances of people being racist and getting away with it. Because the first thing they'll tell you is, oh, I'm a Christian. I can't hate people. I'm a Christian. Like that has anything to do with it. The woman that called the little 5-year-old the N-word, I guarantee you, if you looked at the comments before they shut him off, there were a whole bunch of people that were saying, God bless you, God bless you, keep his hands over you. The Kenny Loggins Jesus joke is basically based on that. Remember when Megyn Kelly got her ass on television and said that Santa Claus and Jesus Christ were both white? So you see, one of the biggest culprits in the continued racism that America faces is the church, the white church. And until such time as people say this stuff out loud, we're never going to fix this. This is not the time to distance yourself from your religion. No, this is the time to confront the nasty racist history of white Christianity in America. Because it's getting worse. And it's all being done under the guise of following the teachings of Jesus Christ.
When people actually say that Beyonce's is very, very expensive, a lot do not really understand why people mean so. A lot do not understand, why some people use this phrase of, Beyonce's is very, very expensive. People think that, going to the market and getting Beyonce's. No. It actually means a repercussion that might cost you so much, So this young man from the first clip that I stitched here, is all regretting. Is having an emotional breakdown, an emotional meltdown. To the fact that he voted for Orange Man, and he's just regretting his word. That is just the truth of all of the thing here. He regrets his vote, not only regretting it in the basis of him losing his job or him being laid off of his job, but the thing is that he feels so offended to the fact that Orange Man promises heaven and earth and he didn't deliver. But the thing is that, in the other hand, Orange Man is actually claiming that people like this man I stitched his video know exactly what he was going to do, and there is no point them getting disappointed or being so or having this emotional thing going around. With that being said, that means even if he's all over the social platform and during his campaign he promised heaven and earth, I think he meant that his followers were supposed to know that all of the promises that he gave during his campaign was all a lie, and they were all to know that he was just saying that to get them to vote for him, you know. And now that these guys are not wanting to understand what Orange Man meant, even if deep inside of them that, you know, if deep inside of them they know that, oh, this man is incapable of fulfilling his promises, they still actually goes ahead to do that. Look at what this man is saying. He didn't regret his vote, but he regrets the fact that he is not in favor. All of the things that is happening is not favoring him personally. Because he said, he actually went ahead to talk about how, oh, if they're going to lay off job based on cutting down funds and all of that, that he probably going to accept it. But the thing is that every other thing are you expecting for him to fulfill? Every other thing means that him getting involved or affected. That is why he's upset. If it's every other person, maybe let's just say every other minority group or other POC, it is all good because majority of them are so insupportive of this mass deportation. But if you're documented and undocumented, they're very, very much in support of that. They use this term, yeah, go back to your country, we don't need you. Oh, the immigrants are they are the ones committing crimes. But criticize Orange Man when their job is being laid off. That means it is okay for other people to get affected, but when it affects them, then he's not doing what he promised. What did he actually promise you guys? Like, because I think Orange Man is not even to be blamed with what is going on right now. The migrant supporters who voted him in know exactly who he is, know who he has been, are the ones to be blamed, because this man keep on saying that nobody should blame me. People who elected me or voted for me know exactly what I was going to do, and that was why they accepted it and they voted for me. So there's no even point blaming Orange Man. I think the people who put him there are to be blamed because they know exactly who he is. I don't know why they're even complaining. I only feel for people whom this is really affecting and had nothing to do with it. This is just where I'm concerned, you know. But you know, these other people with their full chest know exactly who he is and what he's capable of. And all of our social platforms crying because he's now directly or indirectly affecting you or your family members. You think he's not doing what he promised. So always coming out to spew and cry about how he is doing what he never, promised. It's just something that, oh my God. I think Ray and Sis has a lot to do with all of the things going on as well. These people are just so eager to be on top. They're just so eager to perform what they have been deprived of for a very, very, very long time. You know, most of them are all over the social platforms right now, showing their real colors, showing the true person that they are, showing the level of their real sis, because their grandfather and great-grandfather are the ones in charge right now. So when I see some migrant supporters crying and having all emotional breakdown, I say to myself, these people are just pretending. If they're not pretending, that means they never expected that even as bad as they want, things to go their way. But for things to actually go their way, it will definitely affect them. It's just something that is so uncommon. That's why I posted a video 2 days ago where it was actually a podcast, and this lady was being asked the questions. Do you know that things are going to drastically change the way it is right now? She was like, yeah, she knew that most of the MAGA supporters knew exactly what was going to happen, but they don't care. They don't care at first, but now it's as if they care right now because it's affecting them, right? That's why it's as if they care. Before, none of them cared. None of them cared about what was going on, who was getting affected. But now, and gradually, one way or the other, if it's not affecting them directly, it's affecting their businesses, their job, their regards. If you lay off some people and don't, then it will show the real person that you are. So that's why some people are going to just get sacrificed. They're just going to sacrifice their job, happiness, and just in order to prove a point. Anyway, love listener, just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that. Like, and I will see you lovelies when I upload.
Thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So if you've not subscribed to this channel, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like, and I'll see you lovelies when I upload the next one.